What if religion does not control the world with force, but with something much deeper? Not chains, not armies, not secret rooms, something quieter. Ideas. The strongest control in the world is not always physical. Sometimes it is the story people believe before they even know they are believing it. This video is not about mocking faith. It is not about saying every believer is weak, foolish, or controlled. It is about asking a harder question. How can one idea shape billions of lives for thousands of years? Religion does something politics often fails to do. It reaches people before they are adults. Before a person chooses a job, a country, a party, or a life plan, they often inherit a sacred story. That story can tell them where the world came from, why they exist, what is good, what is evil. It can tell them what happens after death. And few questions are more powerful than that. Because humans are not only afraid of pain, humans are afraid of meaninglessness. We want to know that suffering is not random. We want to know that life is not just noise. Religion answers that hunger. It gives chaos a shape and gives pain a reason. That is why religion can comfort people in moments where nothing else works. A person can lose money, status, health, or family, and still survive if they believe the suffering has meaning. But the same power that comforts can also control. Because if someone controls your idea of meaning, they can influence almost every choice you make. What you eat, who you marry, how you dress, what you fear, what you feel guilty about. Religion does not always need to command people directly. Sometimes it only needs to define what is sacred. Once something is sacred, questioning it becomes dangerous. Not always legally dangerous. Sometimes emotionally dangerous. You may fear disappointing your family. You may fear betraying your ancestors. You may fear losing your identity. And that is a powerful kind of control. Because people do not only obey rules, they obey belonging. Religion often gives people a tribe, a community, a shared language, a shared rhythm of life. Birth, marriage, death, holidays, meals, forgiveness, shame, celebration. Religion can be present in all of it. That means religion is not just a belief system. It can become the architecture of everyday life. You may think you're making personal choices, but many of those choices were shaped long before you noticed them. A calendar can be religious. A law can be religious. A family tradition can be religious. Even a person who says they are not religious may still live inside a culture shaped by religion. Ideas do not disappear just because people stop naming them. For centuries, religion helped define what a good person should be. Humble, obedient, pure, loyal, forgiving, patient, self-controlled. Some of these values can build peaceful societies. They can reduce violence, create charity, and give people moral responsibility. But they can also make people easier to manage. A person who believes obedience is holy may obey authority even when authority becomes cruel. A person who believes doubt is sinful may stop asking important questions. A person who believes suffering is always noble may tolerate pain they should have escaped. This is where religion becomes complicated. It can make people kinder, and it can make people silent. It can teach mercy, and it can be used to produce fear. It can give people dignity, and it can be used to control their bodies, choices, and futures. The question is not simply whether religion is good or bad. The question is, who gets to interpret it? Because sacred texts do not speak in a vacuum. Humans explain them, translate them, organize them, and enforce them. And wherever humans interpret sacred truth, power appears. Religious leaders can become more than teachers. They can become gatekeepers of guilt, forgiveness, purity, and belonging. That is an enormous position. If people believe you speak for the highest authority imaginable, your words carry more weight than ordinary opinion. A politician can lose an election. A celebrity can lose fame. But sacred authority can last for generations. That is why rulers have often wanted religion close to them. A king with an army can force obedience, but a king with divine approval can make obedience feel holy. Power loves legitimacy. Religion can give power a sacred costume. This does not mean every religion is a conspiracy. It means powerful people understand the value of belief. If people believe the system is blessed, they may defend it even when it hurts them. If people believe inequality is destiny, they may stop imagining change. If people believe their suffering will be rewarded later, they may accept injustice now. That idea can be beautiful in personal pain, but dangerous in political hands. Religion also controls through guilt. Guilt is one of the strongest invisible prisons in human life. A person can escape a building, a city, or a country, but guilt can follow them inside their own mind. Religion can turn private thoughts into moral events. A desire becomes a temptation. A doubt becomes a failure. A mistake becomes a stain on the soul. For some people, this creates discipline and responsibility. For others, it creates fear, shame, and a feeling that they are being watched even when alone. That invisible watcher can be comforting or terrifying. It depends on what kind of God, system, or authority a person was taught to imagine. Religion also controls through hope. Hope sounds gentle, but hope is powerful. If someone promises you eternal peace, reunion with loved ones, forgiveness, or cosmic justice, they're touching the deepest parts of you. No government can offer that with the same emotional force. That is why religious hope can survive poverty, war, grief, and oppression. It gives people a future beyond the visible world. But hope can also make people wait. Wait for justice. Wait for reward. Wait for the next life. Wait for a sign. And sometimes waiting becomes obedience. This is the double edge of religion. It can help people survive suffering, but it can also teach them to accept suffering too quietly. Religion controls the world because humans need more than facts. Facts can explain how the body dies. Religion tries to explain what death means. Facts can explain hunger. Religion can turn a meal into gratitude, purity, or ritual. Facts can explain childbirth. Religion can turn birth into destiny. Facts can explain rules. Religion can turn rules into sacred duty. That is why religion is so hard to replace. It does not only answer intellectual questions. It answers emotional ones. Who am I? Why am I here? What should I do with pain? Will I be forgiven? Will death have the final word? Any system that answers those questions will have power. Modern society often thinks it has moved beyond religion. But many people simply replace old religions with new sacred things. Nation, money, fame, productivity, ideology, identity, success, the self. Humans do not stop worshiping easily. They just change the altar. That is why the question is not only, does religion control the world? The deeper question is, what controls the human need to believe? Because if religion disappeared tomorrow, the hunger for meaning would not disappear. People would still look for certainty. They would still want purity. They would still form tribes. They would still create symbols, rituals, enemies, heroes, and sacred rules. This is why religion has lasted so long. It understands something ancient about human beings. We are terrified animals trying to build meaning in a world we do not fully understand. Religion gives that fear a language. Sometimes that language heals. Sometimes it manipulates. Sometimes it builds hospitals, charities, communities, and courage. Sometimes it builds walls, shame, obedience, and division. The danger begins when faith stops being a path and becomes a cage. When questions are punished. When fear replaces love. When leaders become untouchable. When people are told that control is holiness. A healthy faith can make a person more honest, compassionate, and brave. An unhealthy system can make a person afraid of their own mind. So maybe religion controls the world not because everyone is blindly obedient. Maybe it controls the world because it touches the parts of us that are easiest to control. Fear of death. Need for belonging. Fear of shame. Need for forgiveness. Need for meaning. Hope that suffering is not wasted. These are not small things. These are the deepest buttons in the human soul. And any institution that knows how to press them will shape history. The real question is not whether religion has power. Of course it has power. The real question is what that power is used for. Does it make people more awake or more afraid? Does it make people more compassionate or more obedient? Does it give people strength or does it teach them to surrender their own judgment? Religion can control a person by telling them not to question, but it can also free a person by giving them courage to question power itself. That is why the story is not simple. Religion has controlled kings, but religion has also challenged kings. Religion has justified wars, but religion has also inspired peace. Religion has created shame, but religion has also carried people through unbearable grief. So maybe the honest answer is this. Religion does control the world, but not always in the way people imagine. Not only through temples, churches, books, or leaders. It controls the world through the invisible stories people carry inside themselves. Stories about guilt, stories about purity, stories about death, stories about obedience, stories about love, stories about who deserves to belong. And if you want to understand the world, you cannot ignore religion, even if you do not believe in it, because belief does not need to be true to shape behavior. It only needs to be powerful. And for thousands of years, religion has been one of the most powerful forces humanity has ever created. The question is not whether it controls people. The question is whether people are conscious of how it controls them. Because the most dangerous control is the one that feels like your own voice. And the first step to freedom is not rejecting every belief. It is noticing which beliefs were truly chosen and which were simply inherited. Maybe faith can be meaningful. Maybe doubt can be sacred too. And maybe the world changes when people stop confusing control with truth.